Hey, it's Ray, Chubby Ray Comics, and people ask me how I choose my reading list because I do a weekly reading list of stuff I'm going to read and then eventually review and talk about. So I just wanted to go over it because people do ask, and I'm sure I do it different from everybody else, or maybe the same. I don't know, but I thought I'd at least share with you how I do it. When I set up my reading list, I always try number one, I pick a Batman book, because everybody knows and loves Batman. So number one, I will pick a Batman book. So let's see, a Batman book that just came out is Detective Detective Comics Volume 5 of the Rom V run. So I pick like Detective Comics, Rom V run. This would be on my reading list. Then I pick a classic Marvel reread and a classic DC reread. So I'll always go up, I'll look for some kind of book that was classically known, and then I'll do a DC classic reread as well. So I might do like, or sometimes sometimes they're both. It might be a DC book that is also a Batman book. Like last week, I did The Long Halloween. So that's a classic reread. I also will do a Rebirth reread, which is a book from the DC Rebirth era that I'll reread. So I'll just randomly pick. Here we go. I'll pick Hal Jordan and the Green Lanterns Volume 2. I just read Volume 1 not that long ago. So I'd pick Hal Jordan Volume 2. And that would be my Rebirth reread. So then I'd look for a classic Marvel book. I'd do Spider-Man Big Time Volume 1. So I'd be like, okay, I'm going to do Spider-Man Big Time Volume 1. This is my classic Marvel book. So this is when Peter Parker, made it big, so to say. So that would be my classic Marvel reread. Then I'd pick books that, maybe newer books that I haven't read yet. Here's a brand new Amazing Spider-Man. This is Dead Wrong. This one just came out. So Amazing Spider-Man Dead Wrong. I might pick that one too. Since I'm doing Spider-Man as my regular one, I might do a different classic reread. I might go, my classic Marvel might be The Death of Captain America. All right. That might be a classic Marvel reread. So it's pretty thick. I doubt I'd pick it, but that's the kind of book I'm looking for, something like this. So that would be a classic Marvel reread. And then I'd get those books that I have been reading. Like I've been reading Venom lately. So I'd get the next Venom. I've been reading the Donny Cates Venom. So I'd pick the next one, which would be, we're just about the King in Black. So I'll decide whether I'm going to read the paperback or the omnibus. Now, omnibuses are different. I'm currently reading Green Lantern by Jeff Johns, Volume 1, Ultimate Spider-Man, Volume 2, and I'm rereading Batman by James Tynion that just came out. So those are the omnibuses that I'm reading. And I have Jonathan Hickman, Avengers 1. So those are the omnibuses that I'm still skipping through. So I just keep those on the list until I get them done. I pick some kind of indie book that a lot of people know about, because I don't want to grab an indie book that no one's heard of. I want to get something that people know. I'd say I want to do something hot. I do like Void Rivals. Like I'll read Void Rivals. So that would be my indie book. Then I'd look to pick like a Superman or something really, really popular that everybody would know what I'm talking about. Just like when I pick my Batman, I like to pick, everybody knows Batman. So I like to pick Batman books that everybody would understand what it is I'm reading, how I'm reviewing it. And I do the same with Superman. I pick like, let's see what we have. Superman to Hell. This is Philip Kennedy Johnson. I'd go Superman to Hell and back. So then that would be on my reading list. Then I might do a second indie book, but something I've been reading, like Something is Killing the Children. Like I read Volume 4, Something is Killing the Children. By the way, these are great books. So they're quick reads for me. And these books also have a lot of pages that are just pictures. You know what I mean? There's pages that don't have a lot of dialogue. So, you know what I mean? but it's great stories. These books are always fantastic. So that's a good one. So when you make a reading list, you have to, number one, get books you want to read. Number two, get books that people are interested about. When you pick a Batman and a Superman and a Spider-Man, you know that a lot of people know what you're talking about because they're familiar with the characters and they want to know what you think of the issue to maybe you'll end up being the deciding point for somebody to buy the book. That's something to think about. And then the other thing I like to do is pick books that maybe people haven't read to let them know it's a good book, which I did with Ghost Rider. I did that with Ghost Rider, the Benjamin Percy run, and I did that with Venom, the Donny Cates run, just to get word out to people that maybe haven't. And I try to pick by writer. Like when I get something, I say, all right, this is James Tynion the Fourth. So people will like this. This is Philip Kennedy Johnson, so that'll be good. You know, this is Zeb Wells. People don't love Zeb Wells, but it's at least a current book. Ed Brubaker. I mean, come on. How do you not like Ed Brubaker? So, you know what I mean? I'll try to stick with good authors too. So, because that way I know I'm at least going to get someone who, you know, I'm at least going to get a book with some, I'm going to get a book with some oomph. You know what I mean? I'm going to get a book that says something, that there's a message or a story or has some depth. And I'll also do the same with artists. I want to get artists that, have some great art. Like I hate artists. Like I hate Mike Allred. I wish I liked him, but I just don't. I wouldn't pick something that he drew, or I'm not a big fan of Frank Quietly either. So, you know what I mean? There are artists that I really like and some that are really struggle for me to get through. I wish I liked everybody, but I just don't. Like all of us, there are some favorites and then some non-favorites of mine. I try not to read the stuff from non-favorites. But like I said, when you pick a Batman or a Superman or a Spider-Man, you know you're getting a good artist because the companies aren't crazy. DC's not going to put some guy who can't draw on a Batman book. They're not going to put some crappy artist on a Superman book. You know, and Marvel's the same way. They're not going to put a crappy artist in Spider-Man. They have to put someone good. Tom Taylor's another one who's pretty can't miss. So, you know, I might end up picking a Nightwing or a Titans. And sometimes I'll just go pick one. I'll look for stuff that he did in the past and I'll pick one. Like he did an Iron Man run years ago, and I might pick an Iron Man. And then you intentionally pick some books that are going to take a while to read. Like I do Dawn of X Volume 1, knowing that there's so many volumes of this book. One of these books will be on a reading list for the next so many months. Dawn of X has 16 or 17 volumes. So I'd start with volume 1 and then it'd go 2, 3, you know, it would continue on until the volumes are done. And then I do some event stuff and get books that all have something to do with the event. Like I'd go Civil War, New Avengers Civil War, House of M Civil War, Amazing Spider-Man Civil War, Fantastic Four Civil War, Illuminati Road to Civil War. So it might be an entire run of something like that, filling out a reading list. That's how I pick my reading list. And then, of course, just random stuff. Like I might get something like I'm a big fan of Legion superheroes. I might feel like reading some Legion again. So I might just go, well, like it wasn't that long ago where I read Jeff Johns' Superman, the Legion of Superheroes, which was great. I loved it. I knew I loved it. And I just wanted to read it again. So I put it on my reading list. The Legion is one of those books, either you know or you don't. And it's still interesting enough to where people will want to watch you talk about it. So then when I make my reading list, that's what I do. Number 1, what's going to interest me? Number 2, what's going to interest any of my viewers? Number 3, maybe my viewers have some interest in, are they going to purchase it or not? I'd like to be the deciding factor as to whether they do or don't. Because I'm a narcissist, I'm an egomaniac. That's why I do these videos. That's how I pick my reading list. I'd love to know how you pick yours. Let me know what you choose, what you do to pick your reading list. I love doing a reading list. It's one of my favorite things. is to pick a good reading list, but a lot goes into it. I mean, I spend a long time, usually with a marker and a notebook, figuring out, well, I could read this and I could read this. And it's not a random, oh, I'll grab this. No, it's actually some thought. There's actually thought put into it. So that's how I do my reading list. I'd love to know how you do yours. Subscribe to the channel. I'd love if you subscribe and like, comment, give me a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. Anyway, this is Chubby Ray Comics on YouTube. I'll talk to you guys soon.